Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today at I think is what is going to be a very fascinating session. I'm Jane. I'm the membership manager here at Social Enterprise Scotland. And for people that don't know us or aren't as aware of us, we are the national intermediary and membership body for social enterprises. And our role is to promote, connect, support, and represent social enterprises in Scotland. Um, I guess there was so much interest in the session, which was really heartening to see. And I think LinkedIn is often a sort of underutilized resource that we have. So, hopefully, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Michelle, who's going to take us through how you can grow your income using LinkedIn. Michelle, over to you.
Great. Hello. Thank you, Jane. Hello, everybody. My name is Michelle Benson, and I teach people how to use LinkedIn to fundraise. At this point, I've taught now well over 1,000 people from 32 different countries. Sorry, I'm also letting people in. We couldn't figure out how to co-host with Jane, um, but ultimately, when I teach LinkedIn to a huge variety of non-profits, so that's social enterprises, charities, institutions, hospitals, you name it, from lots of different audiences and also from different countries, the same thing, the same problem comes up over and over and over again. And that basic problem is, and I want to see if you guys relate to this. And if you do, just put in the chat yes. And if you don't, put no. But ultimately, the problem most people have is you are more than capable of talking to anybody about your organization if you sit in front of them. So if I put you in front of a funder right now and they started to say to you, could you explain what your organization does, why, who for, where, you're fine. You can talk, you know what to do, you know how to answer questions, you know how to fundraise. The problem is getting in front of people in the first place. Being able to get in front of grant making trusts or corporates or philanthropists or anything. Do you relate to that? So I'm brilliant when I'm in the room. It's just getting in the room and also getting in enough rooms. So if you could just put in the chat if that's a yes or a no from you guys. Yes, I'm seeing quite a few yeses. Yeah, exactly. And there's an absolute reason for that. It's because the world is designed to keep you out. The world is designed to not facilitate cold calls. So sorry, I'm just trying to do the the letting people in. Bear with me. Sorry, quite a few people have just sort of come through. So ultimately, when you send an email, if you are not in their contact lists, then that email is likely to go to spam. If you phone someone and you're not in their contact list, it says no caller ID and people can just put you to voicemail. So ultimately, the tools we use, the world, if you're trying to reach out to someone cold, the tools you use, you're reaching a brick wall. And then of course there's GPR and GDPR and all that good stuff as well. And I think you're the same. If you work from home and you know when that salesperson's calling, right, and you just switch it to voicemail or you ignore it, or you see things in your maybe your DMs at LinkedIn or your email, you don't recognize the person, you just ignore it. And so ultimately, you're trying to penetrate a world where technology and mentality doesn't want you. And as I say, we do the same as well. So ultimately, what I'm about is saying, okay, if cold calling is really A, incredibly unenjoyable and B, very ineffective, what is the alternative? And so that's where LinkedIn comes into play. And so what I want to show you today is a strategy that I've come up with that enables you to reach a massive audience, be able to completely interact with them and warm them up so that when you do reach out to them, you are no longer a cold call. They either find you and come to you, and or if you go to them, you're no longer a cold call. So that is what today's about. And so the strategy I'm going to show you is what I also do myself as well as teach. And what I really want to also impress upon you is I'm a one-man band. There's just one of me, and I run an entire company. And so consequently, if you're looking at this thinking, yeah, but we don't have a comms team, yeah, we don't have a brand, oh, we don't, we don't have the staff. I don't have anyone. I've just got me running an entire company and doing LinkedIn at the same time. And ultimately, 100% of the people that I work with come to me. So they find me and they come to me. I don't do any cold outreach whatsoever. The reason I'm here with you today is because Jayne found me and came to me. And again, that's pretty much the process. So what I do is, and what I call it is a digital pipeline. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump on LinkedIn and show you my digital pipeline so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then I'll run you through a presentation that kind of does a bit more of a deep dive into why does social media work so well in comparison to the alternatives that are out there. So let me just, I'm also, just so you know, I'm using a completely different computer because my computer broke this morning. So if I'm a little bit the fingers and thumbs, this is why I'm on like a whole new system. But let's see if we can do it anyway. So let's just get into LinkedIn. And hopefully you can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Great,
Thanks.
brilliant. Okay, so I don't know whether you guys, this is LinkedIn, this is my homepage. And I don't know whether you guys follow me or not, but it doesn't really matter whether you do or not. Ultimately, I post 3 times a week. So I post on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And the reason I do that is because those are very busy days for my particular audience, and also because it suits me. Again, I'm a one-man band. I could post, people say, oh, you should post 7 days a week and all that. So I've got to produce this stuff and I've got to, create the content, think of the ideas and all the rest of it. 3 times a week is more than enough to get the results I want. And but it also works because I've got other stuff to do, right? I need to, I need to run the company at the same time. My students don't necessarily post 3 times a week. A lot of my students only post once a week, and quite a few of my students don't post at all. I have one student who's only comments, but she comments, she's on her 8th corporate partnership in 18 months because she comments. So really what I'm saying here is I post 3 times a week, which means I'm visible. I'm in I'm in somebody's news feed. I keep popping up. I'm visible. Commenting is posting. Reposting other people's stuff is posting. I just want you to be visible in the timeline. So as you can see, here I am 3 times a week, posting my stuff, and also I get very, very high engagement. So let's just take this one for example. So if we go, if we look at this one, here's a post I posted. Now, first of all, I don't talk about myself. There's no let me tell you all about me and blah blah blah. The first thing I do is I talk about my audience. If you want to get someone's attention, you talk about them, not you. And so I talk about my audience, and I also say things like a fundraiser because they're part of my audience, a fundraiser. Now, not only am I talking to the humans, I'm also talking to the algorithm. I'm also saying this post is for fundraisers, share it with fundraisers. So I talk to my audience about them. And then when I get down here, there's no follow me, go to my website, hashtags, all that good stuff. It's just basically, what do you think? Join the conversation. A post is igniting a conversation with your audience. So now what happens is people and my target market start jumping in and talking to me, and I talk back to them. So this is how we start all to get to know each other, and we all hang out and we all just chat to each other. And basically, once you start chatting with people like this in the feed, you can then DM them to say it was great to talk to you today, blah, blah, blah. Personally, I don't, but a lot of my students do. And so ultimately, here you are just getting to know everyone. People are seeing you, you're seeing them, and you're just hosting a giant networking event online. That's what you're doing. And basically, but the important thing is I am not talking to my peers. I'm not talking to other trainers. I'm talking to my target market. Now, if you go up here, you could say, right, this post got 925 likes, 189 comments. A lot of them, of course, were me, and then people resharing my post. All those numbers look great, and everybody gets their knickers in a twist about those numbers. I don't get my knickers in a twist about those numbers. I get my knickers in a twist about this one. So down here is 102,000, which means this post
Yeah, Roger.
went into
Yeah, I do.
100. Someone's not on mute. Sorry. This post went into 102,000 news feeds of my perfect target audience. I didn't pay a penny for this, by the way. Obviously, it took my time. I had to write it and create it. Now, not everybody was on LinkedIn that day. Not everybody stopped the scroll. Not everybody hit see more and read the whole post. So let's say 50% of them didn't do that. Let's say they went into their news feed, but they didn't see it for whatever reason. That's still 50,000 people. That's 50,000 people of my target market that I've got an opportunity to get chatting, to get now. And then what happens is if I did DM Kate Lockhart, who I've never met and who I don't know, but who I've got to know in this chat, she would now see me in the DM. I'm no longer a cold call. So I'm warming up a huge audience at scale. So what also happens is when people look at your post or see you in the comments, even, you could just be commenting, you don't even have to post. When people see you in the comments, what people then do is they naturally go and check out your profile. And so when people come on my profile, there's no random banner of some sort of sunset or a lovely forest or anything like that. It's me saying, I teach charity fundraisers, CEOs, comms teams, and consultants how to use LinkedIn to grow your income. That's what I do. And so you could see yourself in that banner, and also you know exactly what I do. Now, over the last 3 months, I've had 3,500 profile views. Again, my perfect target audience. And so if I've got 3,500 people visiting this banner, because everybody has to land on this banner, right? They might not scroll down, but they're landing on this banner. If I've got 3,500 people, my perfect target audience coming to me, I'm buggered if I'm showing them a picture of a sunset or a forest or a lovely whatever. I'm going to tell them this is who I work with, and this is what's in it for you, dear audience. So the banner basically says, and that entices people to go down, start reading about your about section and whatnot. Then there's the feature section most people haven't even turned on. My profile is optimized to collect email addresses. So I drive people here and I want them to give me my email address because I do a whole email campaign behind this. But the majority of my students, so there's that. And then, of course, I also talk about the courses I run. So the various courses are here as well. But the vast majority of my students want direct messages. They want to be found on the news feed. They want people to come to their profile, and then they want someone to give them a direct message. So that's why I work with people. We call it like you lay digital breadcrumbs. So even though I don't optimize for direct messages, I still get them. And what I also do is I delete all the rubbish ones. So ultimately, anyone that's sort of spammy or anything, I delete. But as you can see today, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven messages today, and it's only midday. And then if you go down, there were direct messages on the 24th, on the 23rd, on the 21st, on the 19th, on the 18th, on the 17th, on the 16th, the 15th, the 13th. They just come. That's what a digital pipeline is. Visibility in the newsfeed to your perfect target market. Talk to them, attract them, get to know them in the newsfeed. Optimize your profile so when people visit it, they want to send you a direct message. That's what you call incoming and or visibility in the news feed, and therefore get chatting to people. And so that when you do send them a DM, you are no longer a cold call. If people know your name, they'll read your message. What I don't do is I don't go onto LinkedIn, put somebody's name in the search bar, search for it, and then send them a cold DM, one at a time. I did a post, one post reached over 100,000 people. Why on earth would I go to the search bar and do everything one at a time? And that's the big mistake people make. You're offline, you have to do everything one at a time, right? You reach out to a trust fund, you reach out to a corporate, you reach out to whoever. If you come onto LinkedIn with your offline head on and go, oh, I do everything one at a time, you are going against what the algorithm wants and what the platform wants. And again, now we're back to this. Now we're back to being blocked. And people can block you. They can go, you can literally just go on someone's name, obviously, and you can just block them. And when I get all the dodgy, crappy messages, that's exactly what I do. And I'm sure you've done the same too. So is that making sense? Great. So let's dive in to what this looks like in a bit more detail. So how to use LinkedIn to fundraise. Now, I know you're social enterprises and I know you're probably doing a mix of fundraising and trading. You can obviously apply this to how to get more clients, trading people and or voluntary income, whatever it is that you want to do. It still works either way. Now, you may also be thinking, yeah, this all sounds great that you do this. You're obviously quite good at content, so therefore you get visibility and therefore it might be easier. But just to give you a flavor, this is a team that I worked with, a small charity that no one's ever heard of. And their team did the training with me. And then 5 months later, hi, Michelle, I hope you're well. We had some good outcomes from the training. Adam, who's the corporate fundraiser, has secured one partnership and is working on another. We've also secured meetings with donor advisory funds, which are the hardest people, and trust. And then she went on to say a couple of other stuff. And then the following day, she came back and said that the retail team, because they also had commercial charity shops, have secured 2 commercial partnerships and have 2 more in the pipeline. And so that was basically, and the majority of what they did was commenting, not posting. But fundamentally, they just got the attention of their target market, got chatting in the news feed, and were able to pull people towards them. So this is the difference between what traditional fundraising looks like or selling versus a digital pipeline. So let's run through it. So basically what you probably do is go, right, we need some funders. And so therefore we're going to research whose giving criteria do we meet, and let's make a list of all the trust funds we can apply to or all the funders of whatever description we can apply to. So you might buy in directories or you might go onto the internet, whatever you do your research. The problem is you and your direct competitors and all the other non-profits out there are using the exact same source. And we all know that trust funds in particular are getting completely bombarded by applications, and therefore trying to get that type of funding can be incredibly hard. So, but you've got your list. You've got your list of people that you want to connect with. And so the next step is, how do I connect with them? So if it's an application process, bam, put the application in. But if it's an invite only application, now we've got to try to get them to come to us. So people put on drink stews, they put on events, they go to their trustees, or they go to their board, or they go to their mates, or they go to their other funders, or they go to anyone and say, here's a list of people I'm trying to get hold of. Do you know them? Can you make an introduction to me? And so this is all very one at a time. It's all one at a time, and it's all very time consuming. But people are good. If you want to get in front of someone, you can get in front of someone. So by hook or by crook, you get it, you do it, and you make it work. And so that's when you get in front of them somehow. Maybe they came to your event, and now you've got a chance to chat them up, start nurturing them as in the human relationship, and cultivating what would how much money have you got, what you'd like to invest in, and cultivating coming up with the ask. And then, of course, you then, maybe after a couple of meetings or whatever, you make an ask. Would you fund X? And so they obviously say yes. And then it's stewardship of, you've now got the money, you've now got to fulfill on the promise, whatever it was that the money, the impact that the money is supposed to be driving. You look after that relationship. So then when it's appropriate, maybe in 12 months' time or whenever, you can go back, you can ask for a repeat donation, a trade up, and maybe introductions to their networks as well. And that's basically, you'll recognize that, right? That is the process of fundraising and or selling. The problem is when it's this bit, excuse to connect. So all these people are either bombarded by you and your competitors. So as you know, a lot of them have now, buttoned down the hatches and say, right, it's invitation only. Don't call us, we'll call you. They hire staff so that they can proactively look for those, which I've done myself. I've been hired by a few philanthropists to do that exact job, to go out and proactively find non-profits they want to invest in. Technology is against you, as we said, no caller ID, spam folders, that good stuff. One at a time. Time consuming, anything time consuming is expensive because you're on salary. So it's not free, right? If you don't have enough prospects to talk to, they'll never trickle down. So you'll never have enough people to ask for money. And if you don't have enough people to ask for money, you'll never have enough people to do a repeat ask and make introductions and all the good stuff. So the top of the pipeline is the make or break. It's the crucial bit. The lack of network or connectivity means you have to do everything cold, and cold is old, and obviously it's really hard and doesn't work very well. So ultimately, as I said, the system is literally designed to keep you out. And so therefore, this bit is the bottleneck. And that's what we said before. You know who you want to talk to. You're great when you get in front of them. It's just getting in front of them and getting in front of enough of them. The system is designed to keep you out, which I'm sure you're experiencing. So the digital pipeline says, okay, let's get attention. Let's go online whatever platform your people are on. You can do this with your service users too, right? So you might say, well, we help young children or whatever, or single parents. You can go onto different platforms and use the exact strategy. Basically, this is just a digital pipeline. Finding people online, engaging them online, and pulling them into your space. So you go online, you can start getting your visibility up, you start talking to people, and that way people come to you, they enter your pipeline in a very friendly way. You get to know them, you start having those conversations. How can I help you? What if it's a funder, what's the sort of level of funding, etc. And bam, we're straight off to the races now. We've taken them offline into your world, and normal fundraising resumes, which means the good news. switch from the bottleneck to being found. So it's people are warm, they're coming to you. You're adapting to the external environment because people are proactively looking. They're not just sitting there waiting for the phone to ring. Makes doing your fundraising job easier, more successful, and a hell of a lot more enjoyable when you're answering someone's, responding to people's requests. So, why is the digital space such an opportunity for you? Now, what I would suggest is before you use any social platform, check out the mission statement. Just Google, what is LinkedIn's mission statement, and Google will tell you. So if you do that, you'll find that LinkedIn's mission statement, which means the algorithm's job is to connect the world's professionals to make them more proactive and successful. Now look at that word, connect. So I've told you that the offline world is all about blocking you, right? Block, block, block. That word says connect. So social platforms are programmed to actually connect you, whereas caller ID, email, and all the rest of it is designed to keep you out. So that's why you're already working in the system rather than having the system go against you. And if you look at any social platform, so let's look at Instagram, to help people connect and share experiences through visual storytelling, YouTube, to give everyone a voice and show them the world, TikTok, inspire creativity and bring joy, Facebook, to give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. And X, well, let X to promote and protect the public conversation, to be the town square of the internet. But can you see they're all about building community, to give you a voice, to bring you together, to connect you? So it's all about connection, and that's why it works so well. It also shows you what the platform wants to achieve. So, for example, if I'm doing fundraising, or my target market is at work, then LinkedIn, the world's professionals, people are at work. If my target market are more in the community, I'm working with, I don't know, churches, schools, gyms, groups like that, Facebook. Facebook is all about community. So, and also, if you've got a really, really serious subject, TikTok's all about creativity and joy. Whereas Instagram is all about storytelling and being visual in your storytelling. So again, the platform's mission statements actually tell you this is how you're going to, if you want people's attention on these platforms, hang out like this, do this, because then you'll get, the algorithm will put the wind in your sails because you're working with the algorithm and not against it. LinkedIn's mission statement is not, come on the platform and milk it dry, sell to everyone. It's to connect the world's professionals to make them more proactive and successful. Productive, sorry, and successful. So, is the juice worth the squeeze? If you're going to go onto LinkedIn and raise your visibility and get some attention to your target market, is it worth it? Who's actually on there? So at the moment, there are 12 million corporate social responsibility corporate funders, 1.5 million environmental social governance, 25 marketing brand specialists, 16 human resources if you're into sort of staff fundraising and whatnot. There are 350,000 grant managers, 15,000 philanthropy advisors who represent very, very wealthy philanthropists, 500,000 family offices. Again, this is your sort of major donor crowd. 150 wealth advisors, 23,000 donor advice specialists, and 65 people that call themselves philanthropists. Now, the biggest philanthropist I know is a lawyer. And if you go on LinkedIn, he doesn't say, I'm a philanthropist, he's a lawyer. However, if you look at who he's commenting on, he comments and he hangs out and he talks a lot to philanthropy advisors, DAF, and also his family offices. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out this guy is actually a philanthropist, even though it's not on his profile. And then solicitors for legacies. So as you can see, the platform's already gathered a massive crowd, and it's there So it's a huge crowd already there that go on LinkedIn on a regular basis with an algorithm that says, I want to connect you. That's why it's so effective. So we've got a couple of problems though. Problem number one. This is what I kind of invented the term the shopping trolley effect or mistake. Um, Basically, when supermarkets were first invented, they invented the shopping trolley. And so big shopping trolley, you can put loads of stuff in it, buy more and, wheel it off to your car and all that good stuff. The only problem was we all shopped in shops and we were all used to baskets. So we all walked into the supermarket, looked at the trolleys, thought that looks silly, and grabbed a basket because that's our comfort zone and did what we did. And so the supermarkets couldn't get people to use the bloody trolleys. And so what they did, they hired actors. So they hired actors to literally grab the trolley, walk around the supermarket, pretend to shop, and so that when other people came in, they saw people with the trolleys and thought, oh, this is what you do. And then they started to take the trolley and everybody started to use the trolleys because that's what human beings do. We go somewhere we've never been before, we look around at what everybody else does and we do the same. And that was the shopping trolley effect. When we go on LinkedIn, we see everybody connect with their peers. So if I'm a CEO of a charity, I connect with other CEOs of charities and I post about myself and I talk about myself and then I attract other CEOs of charities and we all hang out together and we just talk to each other. And when I post something, my staff like it and they comment on it. So I'm staying in this lovely little echo chamber full of everyone I know. Meanwhile, the platform's full of funders who I'm not reaching, I'm not seeing, and I'm not talking to. And so that is the shopping trolley effect for number one. The other thing I think is I run a digital company. So basically, I use LinkedIn as my digital kind of networking event every day. And so I pull in this crowd. And then when I actually deliver my courses, I deliver them online. And I also have a whole email campaign thing going. So I'm 100% digital and I always have been. I've never done anything in person. Meanwhile, I do not have a digital strategy because I think it's an absolute load of nonsense. So if you're thinking you need a digital strategy or you should, forget about it. Absolute load of toss. Because LinkedIn and anything digital, email or whatever, is just a tool. And you don't have a strategy for tools. So, for example, if you were cooking tonight, you might have a recipe, and the recipe, you're following the recipe, right? You don't have a knife strategy. You don't have a blender strategy. You don't have an oven strategy. These are tools that you use to execute and get the recipe made and to, cook the meal. Meanwhile, you do need to know how to use these tools, and the better you are at using them, happy days, you'll get more out of it. But you don't have a strategy for them. And so LinkedIn is a tool. You should have an overall strategy. So you might have a business plan, an organization strategy, a fundraising strategy, a common strategy, and these are the tools you use to execute upon those strategies. And ultimately, what I would also say about LinkedIn is what works offline works online because LinkedIn is just basically a microphone, right? It's a way that you can go into a room, like a digital room full of the people that LinkedIn have put there, and LinkedIn gives you a microphone so you can talk to everyone. So really, whatever you're saying offline that's successful, that's what you should be talking about online. And the goal is not necessarily engagement. The goal is direct messaging or pulling people. I would say it's an opportunity for you to meet funders in large numbers, warm up those relationships so that you can take them offline. Pretty much that that is the goal of a digital pipeline. It's the top of the pipeline. But LinkedIn really just wants your attention. So LinkedIn says, okay, if I can get loads of people on this platform and I can get them coming to the platform, staying on the platform and coming back every day, I can sell that attention to advertisers. And so the more people that come on the platform and the more people that give LinkedIn its attention, the more attention it has to sell. And that's how it makes its money. It sells attention. That's its product. We are the product. So ultimately, what it wants to do is go, right, how can I keep you coming back every day? And how can I keep you giving me your attention? I know I'll put you in amongst all your peers because you'll feel really that I'll keep you in your comfort zone. And that way you'll be really happy to hang out, talk to each other, and basically keep coming back and keep giving me your attention. So when you say to LinkedIn, what should I write about? It'll say, talk about yourself. LinkedIn, what should I write about on my profile? Talk about yourself. It wants you to keep talking about yourself and it wants you to be talking to your staff. It wants you to be talking to your board, your trustees, your colleagues, your peers. So it loves to put people into echo chambers because it wants you to hang out and really engage. And you are going to be more confident talking about yourself than anything else. And then if you're there hanging out and keep coming back and keep using the platform, it can just keep advertising to you and keep making more money. So really, it's super keen for you to make relationship with your peers. And that's when you fill out your profile, it looks at your profile and it starts. So if you said, I'm a CEO of a charity, it starts recommending you connect with other CEOs of charities. If you said I'm a vet, it would say connect with more vets. If you say I'm a lawyer, it will say connect with more lawyers. If you're a vet, you're in with the vets. If you're a plumber, you're in with the plumber. So as a social enterprise, you are in with social enterprises and non-profits, not the funders. And so we need to basically work with the algorithm to say we need to change your news feed, get you out of your echo chamber into the echo chamber with your the people that you want to hang out with. So I am not in an echo chamber full of trainers and coaches. I'm in an echo chamber with fundraisers, charity CEOs, charity comms people, and charity consultants because they're my target market. So let's say this way. So the big mistake, and I think I alluded to this when we were on LinkedIn just now, is what I see most people do is go on LinkedIn and think, right, I want to create a lead. So you go into that search bar and you put in someone's name that you've already researched offline, or maybe you just put like, I don't know, trust grant manager. And then you see what comes up and then you start cold calling people. You do it all one at a time. So this is a platform that is one to many. You've got an opportunity to get that microphone and talk to thousands of people all at once. But oh no, hey, no, no, no. You're going to do it one at a time and you're going to do it cold. So you've put the thing in the search bar and then you basically one at a time, you send them a direct message and it's fingers crossed we might get a meeting. The problem is the algorithm is watching your every move and it can mark you down as a spammer and therefore it starts limiting your access and it will eventually kick you off the platform if too many people block you, which tends to happen. Or you get accepted with, you send out an invitation, it gets accepted and you slap them straight away with a pitch and then they either unconnect or they block you. But ultimately, it's not the best, it's really not the most effective way of getting meetings. And also the other thing is, your problem offline is you have to do everything one to one and everything's blocked. So if you come into LinkedIn with that strategy, you're right back to doing one at a time and getting blocked. And this platform, you can talk to thousands of people and not get blocked. So, why would you choose the worst one? So the better strategy is to go, right, when I go on LinkedIn, I know I'm going to be put amongst my peers. So number one, I need to change my newsfeed. So what got me into my peer group was going to get me out. So I need to look at my profile and start writing my profile in a way that reflects that I'm interested in funders, and therefore the algorithm will put me into the funding peer group. So when I go on my news feed and I open up LinkedIn, I'm going to see funder. Instead of seeing peer, charity, social enterprise, I'm going to see funder. Now I can comment and start getting to know everyone and start hanging out that way. And when I comment, not only do I comment on the person who I'm talking to, but everybody reading those comments get to see me and get to know me as well. You can also then start sending out invitations to people that you see and you're hanging out with. So you start building up your network, which makes the algorithm think, oh, you like people like this? If I want your attention, I need to send you more people like this. So it starts recommending more people to you and starts putting those people in your newsfeed. I always think of the algorithm like a sniffer dog. And what I mean by that is, when you give a sniffer dog a rag, it sniffs the rag and then it goes out and it finds the scent and it brings back whatever that smells like. If you're writing about funders, it's sniffing that go, oh, I can smell grant managers. Oh, it rushes off, finds a load of grant managers, and then that's what your news feed and all your recommendations and all your info. So it's prospecting for you basically. So it's an unbelievable, powerful sniffer dog. So you've changed your news feed, you're in amongst the funders now, you can start building up your network, which means you're getting to know more people. That's when you start creating leads because people start coming to checking out your profile and start sending you direct messages, but not one at a time. Now we're talking and warming up an audience one to many, and that's how you use LinkedIn to get meetings. Now, I've been talking about your personal profile, and everybody says, oh, I shouldn't really use my personal profile. I should use my company page. This time last year, company pages got 7% of the newsfeed. They now get 1%. So LinkedIn, it wants to sell advertising to company pages. So the last thing it's going to do is if you post on your company page, distribute all your content for free because it's really, really keen as a company, you pay for it. And so company pages have been incredibly squashed and they don't do remotely as well as they used to. So people like a guy you may or may not know called Gary V, his personal profile on LinkedIn, he's got 6 million followers. He also runs a company and his company has 140,000. And there's another solo entrepreneur. He's a one-man band, Justin Welsh. His personal profile's got 714,000 followers. His company page has 2,000 followers. These guys know company pages suck. They're good for a website, they're good for information, they give for credibility, but it's not where the action is. It's not people interact with people, people follow people. They do not follow logos. And so company pages are okay, but they're not ever going to do the heavy lifting. So if you're thinking, oh, LinkedIn's taken care of because our comms team look after the company page, tick. That's a what I also teach. I work with a lot of comms teams, and what we do is we focus on employee advocacy. So we take one member of staff and we use their profile, usually the CEO and or somebody who's confident and happy to do it. We use their because what they're doing is they're the driving force, but they're pulling everybody in. And you'd say, yeah, but you're building up their network, not the company page. It's a bit like going to a networking event. You go to a networking event with your personal body, but you collect those business cards. And then when you get back to the office, you put that business card into the CRM system. So it's not like you then take that business card and then invite people around for dinner and, hey, I'm having a barbecue on Saturday. No, you take that business card and you say, um, let's meet during the day, come to the office, blah, blah. It's exactly the exact same thing. It's like a giant networking event, basically. So what does LinkedIn give you? What does it give you? It's a new tool for your toolkit. You don't have to stop your cold calling, your offline stuff. Just add an extra string to your bow. It gives you the ability to adapt to the external environment. If the environment's doing that, go somewhere where it's not, where it will connect you. It's a strategy to be found by really hard to reach decision makers, because really the the profile of people on LinkedIn is generally incredibly senior, and they're on there and they're active. And even if they're a lurker, they're still reading. So that's the thing. People go, oh, everybody lurks, people don't comment and blah, blah. Lurkers don't do anything in public. So they don't post, they don't comment, they don't like, but they do send DMs and they do send invitations and they do accept it. So anything behind the scenes, that's where your lurkers hang out. Anything front and center, they don't. But they are reading their newsfeed and they do DM. So so don't think, oh, they're all lurkers, they're not interacting. They are. It's such a great way to start a relationship. You just chat with someone. It's just like going to a networking event. You bump into someone, you have a bit good chat. It's really easy then to say, would you like to get together for a coffee? Rather than saying that to a total stranger. It's brilliant for new business. We haven't got into this today, but it's actually really powerful. I've focused on new business today, but it's also very powerful for stewardship, and it also acts as a giant focus group. I put out a post, and sometimes people go crazy and all sort of interact with it. I put out another post and it gets crickets. What I then do is the posts that do well influence what I put on my website. Influence. So with my students, for example, the posts that do well, we then say, okay, if this is working well, let's have a look at your pitch doc. Let's look at your website. Let's look at your partnership page, because you're dress rehearsing what you should be putting into your materials that you're using offline. If I had a post and it got no engagement whatsoever, and that was what I put on the front page of my website, surely I now think if it doesn't work there, it's not working there. And so, and you know, if it works there, it works there, for example. But the real gold, this is the absolute gold. 2 U's, one salary. So 3 times a week, I get up, 8 o'clock in the morning, I post. And so I did it this morning. So this morning I've got up, I've posted. So I posted this morning, at 8 o'clock, I spent an hour on LinkedIn. I hung out, I was commenting, I was chatting to people, and then I've closed down the laptop, and I'm not going to I'm not going to go back until tomorrow morning. But we've already seen, I've got a whole bunch of messages this morning, right? And so what happens is, right now, virtual me is still running around LinkedIn. My post is circulating, my comments are circulating, my invitations are getting accepted. So I've got 2 me's. Virtual me is taking care of new business as we speak, and real me is here with you chatting. 2 me's, one salary, which is phenomenal for anyone who is small, feels under-resourced, or doesn't necessarily have a huge amount of cash for salaries. So that is a whirlwind tour of how to use LinkedIn to fundraise. I've also put into the chat at the top, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn and or sign up to my newsletter, because I send out weekly tips and tricks on how to use LinkedIn. Oh, she's saying trying to get out of this. Stop the share. So guys, we've got another 10 minutes. Any questions?
Hi, Michelle. Rhoda here from Ireland. Thanks very much. That was excellent and succinct and very clear pathways. Just on your content itself, so your posts, your 3 posts a week, um, it's very attractive. The content is very attractive. The light blue, the little figures. So do you prepare your not the words, but do you prepare your own visuals to get that ready?
Yeah.
And how hard, because sometimes you might go out to the internet. I've done it and looked for images, and then you're got copyright or whatever. So have you to build up a skill in that, and does that take you half an hour? Or that
No,
might
it's
seem like a daft
actually,
question, but
it's a
it's the
great
really
question.
important thing because it's very attractive.
Yeah. It's actually a really good question, and it was a bit of a fluke. So ultimately, I decided I was going to post 3 times a week on LinkedIn. And on the second day two, it was midnight and I hadn't prepared a post or anything. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's day two. I can't fail on day two. Because I said 3 times a week for a year. So I went on to Canva. I'd written a post and I went on to Canva and I was trying to draw this triangle thing. And it's already midnight. At 20 past 12, I still was fighting Canva over the triangle. At 20 to 1, I'm still trying to do this blood. And I thought, you know what, sod this. So I got my iPad and pencil and I drew it. And I thought, that looks like a 5-year-old's drawing, but it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm knackered. I'm going to bed. And then the next morning I got up and I posted it. And as I posted it, I thought, that looks really bad. And I thought, right, I'm doing it because I said 3 times a week. So I posted and I sat there for about 5 minutes thinking, shall I delete it? Shall I delete it? Shall I delete it? And then it went crazy. It was the most engaging post I'd ever done. It's like comments were flying in, the followers were going for it was just like, whoa. And then I thought, this is great because if I hand draw it, I can do it really fast and it will help my system. But that was because I started that in January 24. These days, there are a lot of AI tools that you can use. So what you could do, now I'll show you this. There is one that is unbelievable, which is great. There's a website called FAL.ai. And what it does, it hosts a load of other AI tools. But you know, when you sign up to ChatGPT or whatever, you have to pay like a £20 subscription. What this one does, it collects all these AI tools, but it lets you pay as you go. So you put £20 in a piggy bank. You can then you just go on to whatever one you want. You say, like, I want to go from an image to a video, or I want to turn I want to turn an image into a video, or I want an image to change into another image, or I want to text to video. You can any one you like, and then it literally you put like $20 in the bank, and then I created a video the other day. It took 3 minutes and it cost me 70 cents. It's unbelievable. FAL.ai. And then you just hit explore, it lists, do you want image to image, text to image? And if you want to create images, in the search bar, put nano banana. And then that will help. It's really basic. You can YouTube it and it will give you a little tutorial. I find nano banana because I've been helping my students create images. I still hand draw mine, but they don't. It is really basic. It's really simple. And for 10 cents, you can create the most incredible images. And all you need to do is literally say, I want a boy on a bicycle going down the street and it's snowing. And then bam, it creates it for you. Turn that boy into a cartoon. Bam, it does it. You know, it's whatever you want. Or you upload some of your existing images and say, merge this into one. Or take this table and take away the blue dot and put in, you literally just type it and it does what you say. It's our new favorite toy. We love it. I'm getting all my students on it because we're all bloody hopeless at this stuff, and therefore but we can talk.
Michelle, there's a couple of questions in the chat.
Oh,
I don't know if you
okay.
can see
Sorry, I
that,
didn't
but
see
yeah.
that.
So there's what
Yeah,
gets more
yeah.
impressions, thoughts, leadership posts, or factual posts,
Oh,
or is a mix best?
okay. So ultimately, what you want to be doing when you're posting is you are talking directly to your target market. And so don't be boring. Don't be boring and don't be up your own arse, basically. Don't talk down your nose at people and don't be boring is basically the two rules. But what you want to do is you think, I would say whatever works offline works online. Because all LinkedIn is a microphone. So if you imagined So, for example, if you went to an event and you gave a speech and that speech went down really, really well, turn it into a post. If you were at a donors meeting and you told a story about a beneficiary or service user or whatever, and that went down really well, turn it into a post. So if so what do you talk about offline to people that people find interesting? That's what will work on LinkedIn. Because it's exactly the same people, but instead of talking to them to their face, you're just writing them a letter, if you like, put it that way, right? So if you have ideas around thought leadership which go down well and that your audience really, you get a great response to, brilliant, go down the thought leadership path. If you find that your stories about your service users or your founding story or and that goes down well, go with that. And don't be afraid to fail, because what you need to do is you put posts out, you put that one out, it worked really well. You put that one out, it was bloody awful. You put that one out, great. That one didn't work, that one did. If you had a post, it was great, it was great, it was great, it was great, it was great. And then I turned around to you and said, why are your posts so successful? You'd probably go, you know what, I really don't know. I'm quite surprised. I can't pinpoint, I can't put my finger on why they're so successful. If you have a post that goes good, good, bad, bad, good, good, bad, bad, now you have a basis of comparison. Now, if I turned around to you and said, why is your post so good? You can go, well, all the good ones have this and all the bad ones have that. And now you can now you'll learn what works and what doesn't work. Otherwise, you're always in the dark. It's just everything's a test. It disappears. That post will be gone in a week's time. Don't get your knickers in a twist about likes and comments. Also, look who's visiting your page. It's got page views. So if you put out a post and it gets no likes or comments, but your page views have gone up, that's great. That's great. It's not all about likes and comments. It's, if you constantly do that, you start performing for the crowd rather than use it strategically.
Okay.
Do you automate posting? No, I don't automate posting services. No, because the link, if you do that, your distribution will get squashed because the algorithm knows that it thinks that if you're posting like that, they automate posting. So they go, here's a post, send it to Facebook, X, Instagram, link, it's just sprayed. And the algorithms hate that type of post. So they know it's automated. They see a third party and they squash the distribution.
Excellent. Thanks, Michelle. Have we got time for one more question? Because I think this one's quite relevant to quite a lot of folk here today. So it's Gina from Workshop Aberfeldy just saying, if personal pages are more effective than company ones, would you still post to the company page and then reshare or just ignore it? And would you therefore make the banner on your personal page particularly or solely relevant to the business? And how do you deal with the fact that one person may work part-time in two completely different businesses? So it's multiple questions.
So first of all, with a company page, the company page is the one that's getting squashed, the personal one. So you've got two horses in the race. You've got a really, really, really strong horse, and you've got one that's got three legs. So don't make the strong one, but carry the weak one and put the weak one forward. This is your shop window, right? Think of it as the shop window. You put your best stuff. So you always lead with your strongest horse, and the one with three legs can give that one a nudge. So post from your personal and reshare it. Let the company page repost it. Don't post from the company page and repost it from your personal. Do it the other way around. So that's number one. The banner, I would say people are landing. You've got to think to yourself, who's my ideal target market? If they're coming to your profile, the banner is the first thing they're going to see. They are going to be coming to that profile either because they've read your comment or your post and thought this person looks interesting, let me check them out. or you've sent them an invitation and thinking, shall I accept this invitation? Or maybe you've sent them a message and they're clicking on to check out your profile. So the more you only have people for seconds. Confuse, you lose. People run away from confusion, they're drawn to clarity. So don't get all creative and clever and it makes no bloody sense, because if it makes no sense, they're gone. So you want, it's Ronson, what you put it as whatever it says on the tin type thing. So you say blatantly, this is what's in it for you. Who do you serve and how do you help them and why should they care? Is basically your banner. Who do you serve, and why do they care? That's that. And then if you've got two, you said two people and one works part-time. And so therefore, should they be an employee advocate? Is that the question,
I
Jayne?
think it's the other way around. I think it's if you're wearing two hats as an individual.
Oh, right. Okay. If you have, if you're wearing, like you've got two jobs and two hats, they are both going to dilute each other. So if you're going to put yourself out there as two individual people, you'll get diluted. Do not have two profiles. It's against the law. It's against the rules. If you get caught, you'll get kicked off the platform. Pedophiles have two profiles. They pretend to be other people. Criminals have two profiles. They pretend to be. So if you've got two profiles, the algorithm goes dodgy and it kicks you off. You're gone. So you'll build up that audience, you'll build up whatever, and then you could lose it overnight. So do not have two profiles. It's not allowed. What you need to do is make a decision. How am I using LinkedIn? Do I want to use LinkedIn for both of my jobs? And if so, I'm going to use it for both jobs, knowing I will dilute the audience, dilute the message, but at least it's ticking both boxes. Or is one job more important that I use LinkedIn for that job rather than the other one, and lead with that one job? And also check, are you actually talking to the right target market? So for example, I have a student who wanted to do that, exactly that, but his one target market were university students. University students are not on LinkedIn. So one was CSR directors of companies and one was university of students. Why would you dilute the CSR with university students who are not on LinkedIn for CSR directors who are? So university students are on Instagram. So if that's the case, you can use two platforms. You could say, I'm going to use Instagram for my university students, and I'm going to use LinkedIn for my CSR directors. And or you might say, I've got two jobs, but I've still got the same audience. We'll talk to that one audience. Fine. You're okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, my voice is going a little. Gina, I hope that answered your question. There is one more question, Michelle. I know I'm aware of the time, but again, I think it's quite important. I've just lost it. If you're starting from a small following, what's the most effective first step to grow your audience in a meaningful way?
Post really good content. If you can post great content, you will win. You just make your content as good as you can, interesting and engaging. Do not sell. Interesting and engaging. The more, if I was selling in the newsfeed, I'd get no attention. And if I don't get any attention, I wouldn't shed loads of people to my profile. And if I didn't drive people to my profile, they wouldn't join my email or send me a DM. So you think selling in the newsfeed is great, it kills you. Don't sell. Be interesting. Have a conversation. You're at a networking event. Would you walk around a networking event selling to complete strangers? Or would you just go around and chat to everyone, knowing this is a great opportunity? I can talk to these people now, get to know them, and then I can follow up. What you're doing is you're laying the groundwork for your future self. When you're at a networking event, you're chatting to everyone so that tomorrow when you email them, they'll go, oh, it's Sarah, and answer, reply to that email, right? That's posting. You are warming up a huge audience at scale, and LinkedIn favors small accounts. So actually, I've got 52,000 followers. So if you've got 10,000 or even like 500 followers, LinkedIn will give you an extra push and it won't give me an extra push. So it actually favors small accounts because it wants you. For me, it's like you've got 52,000 followers. You're obviously you're sold on LinkedIn already. You've got 300 connections. You're not quite sold yet. So LinkedIn's going to be all over you because it wants to pull you in so that you get into LinkedIn so that you keep on giving it your attention.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. I think what I'm learning through all of this is how little I know about LinkedIn, to be honest. And I realize people on the call today will have different levels of knowledge, but I'm thinking mine is one of the lower levels. Okay, I'm very conscious of time, and I know people will have other things to go to and other things to do, yourself included. Do you want to just mention the training that you do?
Oh, yeah. So I do provide a training course. I do an online training course. I do it in May and September. And so there's a training course for consultants, and that's generally people that are running their own business that want to build up their client group. And then there's one for fundraisers, there's one for CEOs, and there's one for comms people. And so the comms people, we focus on really how do we use the company page and get employee advocates? So the company page is pushing them. CEOs, it's like you've got multiple audiences. So you might have funders, service users, media, politicians. So you don't have one audience, you've got multiple audience. How are you going to use LinkedIn to address multiple audiences? And then fundraisers, even with multiple funders and or just, I specialize in corporate or whatever, it's how do I really get a pipeline so that I can really build up a network of funders, warm them up so that that funding comes to me. And so, as I say, it's all online, and it's a mix of live videos, which I do webinars like this. Then there's a whole series of a video series to watch in your own time at your own speed whenever you like. And you can also listen to that like a podcast because everybody on this course is super busy and time poor. And then there's also behind each video, I support you on a one-to-one basis as well. So what I do is I help you identify your target market, write a LinkedIn friendly case of support, set up your profile so your newsfeed changes, help you write content and or a commenting strategy if you don't want to do content, and then say, okay, how do we then use that to also do stewardship and grow our income, basically. So pretty much all my students just want meetings. They want to come on here. They want to learn to go, right, set me up so that when I post, I get DMs and I get meetings on the back of it.
Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Right, sorry about my voice, everyone. Doesn't bode well for my meetings this afternoon, I don't think. Okay, I think all that remains for me to say is thank you all for coming along. Thank you to Michelle for sharing her pretty extensive knowledge of LinkedIn, I would say, with us. I'm certainly going to be looking at LinkedIn a little bit differently from now on going forward. There'll be a follow-up email that comes out with the presentation. The recording will be on our LinkedIn channel at some point in the next week or so. And we'll send a follow-up email with maybe a couple of the other bits and pieces that have come up in the conversation after the presentation. So I think, yes, that's it from us. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Thank you again, Michelle. You're right. I found you on LinkedIn. I saw a post from someone else highly recommending you. I then kind of looked at you a little bit more, looked at your profile. So everything you said was exactly what I did. So I kind of think everything you said was true. So thanks ever so much. And yeah, enjoy your day, everyone. See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks, everyone.